How can some creators post once per week and grow their online presence and business, while other creators can post every single day and still seem to be invisible? How can two people share the same advice, have similar products and services, but only one creator becomes the person that everyone listens to, they buy from? It almost feels like that person has some sort of cheat code. They've clearly figured out something that we don't know. That question used to bother me until I realized something extremely simple. Most people don't have a content problem, they just don't know the system that helps their message rise to the surface and resonates deeply with their potential clients. And once that clicked, everything else made sense from there. So today I want to unpack that exact system that creators are using that I wish someone told me years ago. Have you ever wondered why some of your posts resonate so deeply and others seem to just disappear like you never even made them? Or why some ideas feel effortless and almost obvious, but others take hours and they still don't land? Meanwhile, you're watching other creators and you're thinking to yourself, dang, they just don't miss. Every single piece of content they put out is just getting all the traction. And I'm just trying to figure out, how can I do this for myself? There's a reason for that. It's not because creators have better writing skills or speak better on camera. They just understand exactly who they're speaking to, and their words just seem like they're just hitting your soul. Unfortunately, most creators only realize that after they burn out. So today, we're going to reverse engineer that exact system that creators are using to grow their online business and build a personal brand that seems irresistible. I'm going to walk you through the method that I teach when someone is ready to step out of confusion and get into their flow state. If you ever felt like your content was just almost there, but not quite landing the way you hoped to, trust me, you are not alone. Most creators go through what I call the quiet stage. This is where you have all the talent in the world, you're giving 100% every day, showing up consistently, but you just don't have the right direction. There's no shame in that. It's simply the point where creators start to look for something deeper than just the tips and tricks they can find online. They start looking for an actual system that is repeatable, that can allow them to show up and serve their audience every day. When I talk about systems and structure, I'm not talking about waking up in the morning, trying to spark creativity at 5 a.m. while you're taking your ice bath or going on your walks on the beach. I'm talking about the kind of system and clarity that frees your voice up from being trapped inside. This is the kind of structure that doesn't tell you what to say, but helps you understand why your message matters and who it matters to. And that, again, is where the flow is flowing. Creators don't burn out because they're weak. They burn out because the foundation underneath them is just thin. So I've been golfing since I was about 5 years old. And one thing that my dad used to always tell me was you got to have a strong foundation on your swing. Sometimes you're leaning back, sometimes you're leaning too far forward, but every time that you aren't centered, it seems like you never hit a good golf shot. And that's the same thing that goes with your content. If you don't have a strong foundation from the start, you're never going to hit it right on the head. I've coached enough people to see a pattern where it's not inconsistency that holds you back. It's not knowing what their message was built on. Once that foundation is set, your content doesn't feel random anymore. It feels inevitable. And that's exactly what the F stands for in the flow method: foundation. This is where everything slows down in the best possible way to make sure that you know where the noise is. This is where we're going to set the foundation of your content to make sure that you're aligned and you know exactly who you're speaking to. We start with the person that you serve. And I'm not talking about the demographics or the vague audience. This is a real human being with a real situation. And then from there, we'll uncover deeper layers: the frustrations they hide, the moments that break their momentum, the transformation that they want, but they rarely say out loud. And here's where it gets interesting. And most people have never articulated the transformation they want to create. Not the task or the services you provide, but the actual change that you want someone to experience when they're watching your video or buying your products and services. Your message is your strength and your angle has to be sharp. So at the end of the F in the foundation, you should have a simple, strong foundation that is yours for you to stand on. The next step of the flow method is the L. This is where we shift the conversation from clarity and we start focusing on leverage. So we're not going to be replacing your voice. We're just helping you use AI to multiply it. You're going to become the driver of AI, not just something that you hide behind. This is where you can actually pull ideas from places that you've actually been, experiences that you've had, and you can start to tell your client stories and the transformations that you've had. You can deal with different objections that you've seen, And you can build your own prompt system, something that's private, personal. It's like a creative partner that reminds you who you are as a creator. So by the end of this, you're not going to be staring at a blank screen anymore or just writing down concepts. You're going to be creating from abundance. The next in the flow method is the O. So now that we've talked about clarity, we've moved past leverage, you're in a place where output naturally starts to expand. Not because you're pushing harder or creating more stuff, it's because the weight is finally gone. You have clarity on exactly who you serve and how you can create content to just better get in front of them. So we're going to build your content engine and demand that makes people want the transformation you're talking about. This is the proof content that shows your depth, and you're going to have real conversation starters without feeling salesy. This is where you learn the rhythm of short form content, hooks, pacing, and just bringing in genuine stories from your experience. You can build out templates that make content creation predictable instead of some emotional thing that ruins your day. You're also going to craft stories to anchor your message and have genuine context that people can relate to. This is where people start saying, I finally feel like myself. So just to recap, in the flow method, the F is for foundation, the L is for leverage, the O is for output. Now the W is for workflow. This is where we're trying to become sustainable in our content creation process, and where unfortunately most creators will fall apart. And it's not because they now lack the system, it's because you don't honor it. You have to stick to it. So in this, we're going to simplify it. This is a workflow that fits great with your schedule. It's like batching your content and just removing the chaos. Create a content calendar that supports your capacity and doesn't feel like just a burden to you. This is where we can create tools to automate parts that drain your energy, and where content stops to feel like a burden and becomes a rhythm, and you finally get into your flow. So this simple 4-step framework, the flow method, is what I like to take all my clients through. It helps them build the foundation, create leverage through different AI tools and softwares. It creates the output, what type of content feels natural to you that you can consistently post, and then figuring out a workflow that just matches your time, your schedule, and your capacity. So hopefully you found value in this. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.